Hi, it's time for Good Energy, and I'm Dr. Julie. And today we are starting a new series this week. Series is on sensory system and sleep, or sleep in the sensory system. And we're going to use our body awareness to figure out what is going on with our sleep, especially if our sleep is interrupted. And so we're going to use our senses, and I'm going to help guide you through mindfulness and body awareness ways to check on what's going on in your sleep. All right, since I forgot yesterday, I'm going to remember today. Let's start out with our deep breaths in and release. Deep breath in, make sure you're going from expanding, breathing into your chest, into your head, sinuses, tuck your tailbone. Deep breath in. And release. And think about any gunk that you've got going on today. Think about where it's sitting in your body, and breathe into that spot. I got a spot right back here that needs some love. All right. Deep breath in and release. All right. So today we're talking about this week we're talking about sleep and the sensory system. And today we're talking about the sense of hearing. And there are a couple of ways where your body awareness can come up in the sense of hearing, or how your body awareness can give you some indication about what's going on in your sleep, especially with hearing. So we've talked about this multiple times in the past. We've talked about the importance of white noise. So if you have a lot of background noise where you live, for example, I live really close to I-80, and so there is the continuous sound of large trucks going across the highway. And I can hear it. I can hear it in the middle of the night. I can hear it during the day. And sometimes I just need something to block out that noise. And so you could use white noise systems. We talked about how you can use your breath to figure out which background sound to use. If it doesn't make you feel better, or if you are lying down and you're listening to that sound, can you take a bigger breath in with it versus without it? That is a way to use your mindfulness, your body awareness, and breath to decide whether or not that white noise is proper or appropriate. In my case, I think I've already told you this, I'm a podcast girl. I have one podcast where the sound of the podcaster's voice is enough to just conk me out. If you're looking for a male voice that has a tendency to sound good, give you some information and make you conk out, I suggest the British History podcast. Jamie is the podcaster, and there's something about his voice that just automatically turns me off. I cannot drive while that podcast is on because I start to get very tired. Even though I want to listen and learn all the wonderful things that he has in it. So breathing while you have your various white noises, and especially when you're lying down, much like when you're sitting in a car, when you're lying down and taking a deep breath, you can tell when you're restricted because you just cannot get a full breath in. If your nervous system says, this isn't good, it will constrict your airflow. And so you can breathe and see how that makes your body feel while you try various different kinds of white noise. Now, that gets you your foot in the door. So how do we actually put our bodies to sleep? The second way you can use hearing for body awareness, mindfulness, and figuring out your sleep cycle is by, you may start to notice the sound of the ice cream truck going past. It is coming this way. I've told my children they can't have any. They're not happy with me. So, sound, hearing. So let's say you are waking up in the middle of the night, and you wake up at the same time every evening in the middle of the morning. And there are a couple of explanations for this. One of them is that your nervous system is really working hard, and so that at that time it just kind of stops and says, yep, we're awake right now. And that can be tied to traditional Chinese medicine. If you look at their circadian, their meridian clock, their traditional Chinese meridian clock has times during the morning where people have a tendency to consistently wake up, and that is tied to an organ system. And it can tell you that that organ system is not doing as well as it should. Now, that has nothing to do with hearing. But what does happen with hearing is that you may consistently wake up at, say, 2:30 in the morning and not know why, but you may have something silly going on. You may have programmed your water softener to cycle at 2:30 in the morning. So while when you wake up, it is done cycling, it has been enough to get you conscious and wake you up again. So a lot of times when I work with people on sleep, I usually say, okay, well, what did you remember before you wake up? And sometimes if it's the same consistent dream or the same consistent sound shows up in that dream, it is because you are hearing something and you are incorporating it into your dream and you are coming out of it faster than you should. So, one of the things to pay attention to is using your sense of hearing and mindfulness to get you to sleep. But then the other one is using, of course, your perception and your sense of your sensory hearing ability to figure out if you are waking up at the same time, because that is when the garbage truck goes past. That is when your, as I said, your water softener cycles. Or that is when the air conditioning always clicks on. It resets itself at such and such a time. So pay attention to that. That one, your body awareness is more like, how do I feel when I'm coming out of this? Am I really searching for something? Am I searching to hear something? Or am I waking up in a cold sweat? Typically, when you wake up in a sweat or you wake up and you're hot and you have to go to the bathroom, that is not an auditory wake up. That is a nervous system, organ system wake up. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move in throughout the week. All right, well, I hope you got a lot out of this, and I hope as we go through sleep, it was actually the last week's episode on sheets that thought, hey, sensory system and sleep seems to be pretty good. So we'll expand upon that, and I will see you tomorrow. Let's take a deep breath in and release. Have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow.